Well, hello, gentlemen, and welcome to Season 4 of the Uncle Fantasy Football League. This is your league commissioner speaking, and doing so via the interwebs and magical moving pictures for the first and not the last time in league history. This is a monumentous occasion. I expect you to all know this date when quizzed at a later time. All people who fail this quiz will be forced to lose to Paul, because I feel that's punishment enough. Well, I'm making this video because A, I told Tony that I would, and B, because it is exactly 1 week. That's right, that's the correct amount of fingers. 1 week until the first regular season game next Thursday between the Broncos and the Ravens. And the Ravens are, of course, a home team in Denver because the NFL apparently suffered from a few too many concussions of its own to be able to understand how to have a football game in Baltimore. I know it's dangerous, but just because someone's likely to get shot doesn't mean they shouldn't have games there. I mean, if that was a qualification, there'd be no games in Baltimore, Detroit, Oakland, possibly San Francisco, maybe, and probably Buffalo, because Bills fans get drunk and belligerent. Anyway, the actual purpose of this video is for me to go on and tell you all why your team sucks. So I'm just going to go through here one by one, the way they're listed on my official list here. So first up is my Week 1 opponent, who is Willer. I don't really think it's worth my time trash-talking Willer for a variety of reasons. Number one, he will never watch this video. Number two, he will never check the league. Number three, he's currently starting Rob Gronkowski. Number four, trash-talking Willer and his inadequate fantasy team is like kicking a paraplegic puppy, because it's just so sad and depressing, and I almost cried looking at it. Next up is Tony. Tony drafted pretty well, I'll give him that, but his mascot is a Canadian, and for those of you who don't know the story of what happened when Justin and I went to Toronto and got free concert tickets from a Canadian drug dealer, let me tell you that Canada is awesome. Anyway, after that, speaking of, we have Justin, who appears to have Pancho Villa, or Teddy Roosevelt with a sombrero, as his team picture. Justin's fantasy team is, of course, known as where tight ends go to die, because he's already lost 2 to season-ending injuries, and as I'm making this video, the preseason isn't even over yet, so that's just straight-up impressive. He also is the only player in the league to have a Jets wide receiver, so I look forward to seeing how many points Antonio Holmes can put up when Matt Sims is throwing to him Week 2, because Matt Sims is the future. Coming up next, we have Paul. Hey, Paul. How you doing? Paul is also known as the only person in the league who's been too lazy to change his team name since the beginning of the league, because it's very difficult to come up with a creative team name. Obviously, you Jew. It doesn't cost you anything to type in a new name. Let's see here. Oh, you're starting Manti Te'o. You know what else is imaginary? Your win column for the season. Fuck yourself. Alright. Next, now, I can't really make fun of Kyle for 2 reasons. Number one, Kyle won the league last year in his first year in the league, so in an act of gratuity and generosity to Kyle, congratulations. Second of all, if you haven't checked Wahala's team, I don't really care who's on it. I'm going to ignore everything that could possibly be bad about his team, because he has the best team name I've ever seen, and the best team picture to go with that I have ever seen. So, also, before I get any farther into tearing apart the train wreck that is Noonan's team, for those of you who did not go to the official championship belt discussion, it is in the works to acquire, if people are willing to chip in, and you all should, because if you don't, you never get to have it, a replica wrestling championship belt that would go to the winner of the league. And we would also stage a gigantic photo shoot where the winner of the league beats the crap out of whoever comes in second place, and also probably whoever comes in last place, with steel chairs, tables, whatever, for posterity's sake. This would also mean that myself, Paul, and Kyle would also get to pose with it, because we are the 3 previous league champions. Anyway, the real reason you're watching this video is to hear what I have to say about Noonan's team. Now, we were all there when Noonan proceeded to draft 4 defensive tackles, one of whom is currently a free agent and still starting on his team, for the record. 2 kickers, Tashard Choice, who is owned in less than 1/6 of a 1/10% of NFL fantasy leagues, in addition to Tim Tebow. Now, there comes a time in every man's life where he must realize that he just isn't cut out for success. Now, most people would have thought that time was when he got pulled over for a DUI and blew a .47. A lot of people would have thought it was when he put diesel in his car that doesn't run on diesel. A lot of people would have thought that it was the time that he tried to piss in my bedroom after drinking, even though it clearly was not the bathroom, which was actually closer to him than my bedroom was. A lot of people would have thought it was the time he got so drunk at Tony's that people convinced him he was locked inside his car while the keys were about 2 feet away from him. But not Ethan Noonan. No. He kept going. This is the time you should quit, because this fantasy football team is the most embarrassing thing I have ever seen. I mean, quite frankly, we're already trying to pick out the league last place punishments just because of what we think would be funniest to do to you, because it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that barring Aaron Rodgers becoming the reincarnation of Zeus himself, you will not make the playoffs and will all but assuredly come in last place. You have 3 players who are currently out for week 1 and a free agent on your starting roster. Look at your life. Look at your choices. Coming up after this is Dan. Dan gets part of a free pass because his icon is Sergei Bobrovsky. And that's awesome, because that's more effort than any of us put into the Fantasy Hockey League last season. Except for me, because I win, bitches. I win hockey, I win basketball, and I'm going to win football this year too. Going for the trifecta. The holy trinity of me kicking all your asses. Let's see here. You have Geno Smith on your team. That's really all the trash talking I need to do. That's enough trash talking for the entire league, honestly. Let's see. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, we have the new teams. So, I don't know why I'm trash talking Joffrey either, because he doesn't even have a picture for his team. He named it the Business Majors, which is not at all intimidating. You know, I'm kind of scared of, let's see here, I'm scared of a Bear Jew. I'm scared of Aaron Hernandez, for damn sure. I'm scared of a guy with drugs. I'm kind of scared of Canadians. They're pretty freaky. But you know what I'm not scared of? Guys in shirts and ties who get really drunk in Dubai and then kiss a guy by accident. Joffrey. Anyway. Joffrey's known as the guy who will never check his team this season because... Sorry, bitches be texting. Train of thought. Because Joffrey was going to win the championship his first year by so much that he couldn't even be bothered to check his team, so he came in like 8th out of 9. So I look forward to the inevitable collapse that will befall you, not because you drafted a bad team, just because you don't have the common decency to check your fantasy roster, you lazy motherfucker. And finally, we have the other new team, and the only truly new person to this league, my man Kenmore Dave. Kenmore Dave gets a free pass for some work he and I did doing commentary for a game of Madden, and also for making fun of Mark Sanchez every single time I open the league and see that picture of Mark Sanchez running into, who I believe, and don't remember correctly, is DeBrickashaw Ferguson. Let's see here. I can't tell. Whoever Wilfork pushed back into him, Nick Mangold, and all that. You don't get a free pass for being the guy who's trying to rip me off for Vincent Jackson. Now, as a Tampa Bay fan, I know Vincent Jackson and Doug Martin are overrated. So, it's really your loss if you're trying to stick it yourself. Try to stick me with them for that price. Just saying. Anyway, gentlemen, in about 10 days, 10 days from now, week 1 will be over, and 5 of you will have lost. Willer and 4 others. It's a sad reality you plebeians live in, and I don't feel sorry for you at all. I really don't. I mean, I can't really lose, because if I do, I could just go change the scores and Willer won't ever check the league. He thinks I changed the scores anyway, so I might as well actually do it if all he's going to do is bitch at me about it. So, as a final friendly reminder to all of you people, change your teams, set your lineups, have fun. My hand is on the screen now. And be prepared, 'cause I'm gonna kill you.